You have submitted a few other things which we requested you to submit. The report is being collated, and it will then be shared by all PSS, so that they can understand what the analysis we are getting out of the departments is going to be, and hopefully it will help us improve our departments, because as we got that feedback, we find that some state departments have not set up specific committees as required, both in terms of maybe even regulation under the PFM Act, or even in accordance with the direction of HE. You find that some have not placed those committees in place. Now, this is what we want to do. We want to pull them on board so that we don't leave them behind. And this report, once it comes out, it will help in you having a picture of the whole of government, so that the public service can move. Let's also eliminate some of the things we talked about yesterday. You find that in some of our state departments, people have been acting. I'm aware of a case, somebody has acted for 11 years. Even in our own office of the PCS, Mr. Warui is new. But the fact of the matter is that you find the inspectorate has been having somebody acting for 7 years. You know, and I'm sure you'll find them in your own. Now, is it motivation? Is it injustice? Or is it design? You know, I like Shakespeare. Shakespeare once used to say, in one of his Macbeth, he says, "Though it be madness, there's method in it." Yeah, I'm sure you may have come across this. So some people may look like they're doing something that is outrageous, but it is design. It is by design. Yeah, it's deliberate to make sure that certain things don't progress, and this is even in state corporations, not just within the mainstream public service, but even in state corporations. What we are finding in terms of people acting for too long in one position, then it's deliberate, because either somebody doesn't want that job advertised, so you have somebody there acting for as long as it takes. You are stifling promotion in other areas, but at the same time you're making sure there's a fit for purpose individual in a particular position for as long as you want that fit for purpose individual. Now we need to unlock some of these things, and through your support, I hope we can be able to deal with this. We have legislation that is coming through. As you go through the round tables, we are seeing a situation where maybe a department wants as many as 20 or 15 pieces of legislation. I'll be very specific. There's one that produced 15 pieces of legislation. But now you have to figure out, realistically, we have 51 state departments. Can one state department achieve 15 pieces of legislation in one go? It might be very difficult. So you then now have to again reflect and bring out what are the actual priorities. So you have to help us through your leadership, help us to help the ministries to really bring out their priorities. It's that conversation through your leadership that would unlock a lot of potential and proper utilization of resources by the government, interact with each other, coordinate. If something is not working, alert us on time so that we can reflect on it and take a different direction. Principal Secretaries, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, let me start as follows. It gives me a great pleasure to meet you today as chairpersons and vice chairpersons of the sectoral working groups established during the Nanyuki retreat held in January 2023 to drive the delivery agenda of government. So you're familiar, we were together in Nanyuki, and we are building on what we started in Nanyuki. The second issue is that I wish to congratulate you all for taking the leadership roles amongst your colleagues in ensuring that the 5 sectors take shape and deliver tangible and impactful initiatives for the government. As senior ranks of the executive, it is your duty to ensure that the whole of government approach is embedded in the operations of your committees and that you identify key priority projects, programs and policies and align them to the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. I trust that we all have read and appreciated the guidelines on the framework for coordination and supervision of government business across MDAs and are familiar with the reporting structures. This is important because these guidelines went through Cabinet, and what we are basically working with are guidelines that have been approved at Cabinet level. So we are consistent with the broader policy direction given at that level. Of importance is that the culture of the silo mentality in the public service must end. We must kill the silo mentality. We must work together, and it should be replaced with consistent coordination, collaboration, and collective responsibility within and between MDAs. Now, this is a very interesting thing. When we talk about the silo mentality, I'm sure as PSS you're also familiar that the Principal Secretary on Parliamentary Affairs are doing the round tables so that we really come to terms and agree on our legislative agenda as government. Some interesting developments are arising where departments within one ministry are not talking to each other. So that there's a legislation, you're in the same ministry, there has been no internal consultation, so the same piece of legislation is being proposed for amendment, and no harmony has taken place amongst themselves. Now that can be very dangerous. So part of the issues they are going to help us with is to really kill that silo mentality so that we talk to each other from where we are first before we even figure out how to talk to some of the other issues. I can tell you from a politician's viewpoint, 5 years is a very short time, depending on which side of the divide you are, you know. When you are in the opposition, I can tell you it can look like a very long time. Yeah, and they become restless, desperate, and you are seeing it for yourselves, you know. We are just 1 year after an election, but those guys, I'm sure, because I've been in that space, are beginning to feel that it is forever. Yeah. So, so you find they agitate. But now, those of you who are in government, like ourselves, let me tell you, 5 years is very short. Very, very short. Because you have targets, you have to deliver, you have to raise the resources, and you just don't realize that a year has gone. And another one is kicking in. And before long, we are going to be faced with an election. And let me tell you, in politics, the difficult part is when you are playing defense. Yeah, when you're on the defensive, it's very difficult. Okay, so we have an option either to place ourselves on a defensive mode come the 2027, or be in such a situation that we are not defending ourselves, but putting the opposition on their defense. So we have a challenge, and it's that challenge that I'm appealing to you to take up and help us navigate so that we can find solutions. As the chairman of the NDIC, I have a mandate to present a progress report as a constant agenda item in Cabinet. This progress report escalates the challenges and issues raised at NDIC that require further problem solving and unlocking by Cabinet for the implementation of government projects, programs, and policies. The majority of the subject matters and details of the report emanate from initiatives and issues discussed at the subcommittee level, and in turn provides status updates to His Excellency the President on implementation of the administration agenda. As you are aware, 5 subcommittees aligned with the sectoral groupings were established during the Nanyuki retreat, and we have seen them. One is the Finance and Production Economic Subcommittee, Infrastructure Subcommittee, Land and Natural Resource Subcommittee, Social Sector Subcommittee, and Governance and Public Administration Subcommittee. I am glad that each subcommittee has nominated a chairperson to coordinate and convene its meetings, and also nominated a vice chairperson to step in for the chairperson as need arises. I am also aware that some committees have already held their inaugural meetings as follows. The Land and Natural Resources Subcommittee has held 1 meeting, and the Governance and Public Administration Committee has held 2 meetings. I urge those that have not held their meetings to do so. The Government Delivery Services will provide the Secretariat support for you and assist each subcommittee to establish their own coordination mechanisms. The terms of reference for subcommittees include the following: identifying and deliberate on priority projects, programs, and policies to be tracked under the better. 2, to track the implementation of priority projects, programs, policies per sector with the assistance of the GDS. 3, develop timely and appropriate solutions to challenges constraining the implementation and delivery of priority national government projects, programs, and policies. 4, manage relationship between MDAs and state, the SAGAs, with regard to implementation of priority national government projects, programs, and policies. And 5, prepare a standing chairperson's report to the NDIC on the status of implementation of priority national government projects, programs, policies, and challenges therein. As mentioned earlier, the NDIC framework liaises with the Principal Secretary for Internal Security and National Administration to receive and deliberate on reports and regional committees. Now that the regional and county committees have been revived and staff from the government delivery services has been deployed to the field to track the implementation of projects and programs at the ground, a lot of project, program, and policy issues will be channeled through the NDIC and thereafter cascaded to the subcommittees for problem solving and reporting back to NDIC. It is recommended that the subcommittees meet at least once every month. That's what I'm requesting from you. Once every month to deliberate on some of the cascaded issues and report back to the NDIC with resolutions on how to unlock the challenges therein. Under the whole of government approach, Principal Secretaries should benefit immensely from building networks and partnerships that resolve bottlenecks hindering the delivery of government policies, projects, and programs. I trust that as chairs and vice chairs of the sectoral working groups, you will, if you have not already done so, prioritize and harmonize your initiatives and consistently build working synergies within your committee members as you deliver on the government agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, Executive Order number 1 of 2023 elucidates the mandate of the Office of the Cabinet Secretary, and these are as follows. 1, assist the President and Deputy President in the coordination and supervision of government ministries and state departments. 2, liaise with the ministry responsible for interior and national administration in overseeing the implementation of national government policies, programs, and projects. 3, chair the Principal Secretaries committees and supervise the technical monitoring and evaluation of government policies, programs, and projects. And 4, chair and coordinate national government legislative agenda across ministries, state departments in consultation with and for transmission to the party coalition leaders in Parliament. As the first order of business and in compliance with the Executive Order number 1 of 2023, my office has consultatively developed guidelines for the framework for coordination and supervision of government business across MDAs. The guidelines clarify the structures of operation and roles of members in coordinating government business under the umbrella of the National Development Implementation Committee and the 5 sectoral working groups that you represent today. The NDIC is mandated to supervise the implementation of national government development projects, programs, and policies throughout the delivery cycle. Ladies and gentlemen, as we embark on these regular subcommittee meetings, all of which will henceforth focus on projects, programs, and policies, and tangibles, let us keep in mind the vision pillars that are to guide the development of the work program for this administration. As a government, we are expected to apply the principle of not leaving anyone behind. As such, I am privileged to work with you in this endeavor and my entire team comprising of State Department of Performance and Delivery Services, the State Department of Parliamentary Affairs, the State Corporations Advisory Committee, the Inspectorate of State Corporations, and the Government Delivery Services will remain available at all times to support and guide as and when required. Finally, let me invite you all to play a key role in shaping how we respond to the challenges of our time, to use it as an opportunity to make government deliver. So I definitely wish you well. And just to fill you in, this room is called Amani Room. This is the room where, believe it or not, we sat in the year 2008. With Kofi Annan. We sat in this room for 42 days. trying to bridge the tensions in the country. And in fact, it is after that that Serena renamed this room to Amani Room, because this is where the peace was brokered at that time. So I'm not, to some extent, therefore, I'm asking you to broker some peace in this country by ensuring that there is perfect delivery of government services. Because when people feel that they're being attended to, then their minds and their souls are at peace, and it's necessary for the country. But you have a special task as the chairs of these subsectors. I say so because remember we have 51 state departments, and it's not easy under any circumstances to coordinate 51 state departments. There are usually varied challenges that emerge in such circumstances. So we want you to help in driving the coordination of those 51 state departments. So as chairs or as the leaders of these sector groups, you'll have to do that extra hour beyond your normal assignments. We'll be relying on you to give that extra input to help in galvanizing the sectors that you lead. It's absolutely essential that you quickly come to terms with this and then help in establishing the mechanisms that will get us to drive those specific sectors so that we can support the president in what he was elected to do.